Peggy 16.
Profanity. It's a pretty hot topic right now, what with the new YouTube changes all but outlawing the use of no-no words to the start of a video. And while there's a lot of controversy and saltiness about the changes impacting monetization, I really don't give a shit about any of that since YouTube doesn't pay me for having 3 subscribers. What I care about is the use of profanity filters more generally. They're used pretty heavily in some parts of the internet, where companies are still trying to cling on to any remnants of cleanliness they can, as they try to prevent themselves from descending into the likes of 4chan and other lawless jungles of the interwebs. And I'd be fine with this, if it actually worked. You see, as I discovered rather recently, the art of filtering out the profane in life is, well, it's an art, because it's definitely not a science. Let me take you back a few days ago to when I was implementing the name selection feature in a game I'm working on. When a user signs up, a box pops up asking them to choose a name that will be displayed for others to see. And that's it. Simple stuff, job done. Or so I thought. You see, a few days later I started getting some emails from a few very angry parents telling me how disgusting my game is after their son got matched up against a player with a naughty word in his name. So I reassure the angry mum, I say I take this matter very seriously and I will get to the bottom of this disturbing incident. And after some digging, I come across the culprit, a gentleman that has decided that his identity, his very being in this game, will be fuck. So I think fair play, that's an oversight on my part. I should have taken steps to prevent this kind of thing from happening, and all this sly gentleman has really done is simply try and see what he could get away with. So I then ban the little shit and decide to implement a profanity filter now when players choose their name. Here's the plan. First, I'll get a list of naughty words that might trigger sensitive mums. Then, after the player types their name in, I'll run it against all the entries in my list, and if there's a match, politely ask them to choose a more appropriate name. And that's it. Problem solved. Also, I thought, you see, some crafty little shits decided to take things one step further, and by combining each of their singular brain cells, conjured up a way around my profanity filter. They used multiple words. Because I was checking the name as a whole for a match against my ban list, if there wasn't an exact match, they were good to go. This protected against the initial case when some erudite young man decided to give himself the name fuck, but it crumbled in the face of this kind of ingenuity. So I thought fair play, that's an oversight on my part. I should have seen that coming and taken steps to prevent this from happening. All these cunning lads did was simply push the boundaries of my systems to see what they could do. No fault on their part. So I proceed to IP ban their asses and go about enhancing the capabilities of my filtering system. Now I'll check the contents of the input character by character, and if there's a match within the string to any of the words on my no-no list, it's an instant permaban. And so that's what I do. Now I've got all corners covered. If someone tries to use a naughty word in their name, they're toast. And so I went back to sipping on my coffee and reading my paper, comforted in the knowledge that I won't be getting any more angry messages. Also, I thought, you see, a few days later I started noticing my rating on the App Store going down. And fewer stars means fewer downloads, and fewer downloads means fewer eyeballs, and fewer eyeballs means fewer monies. So I was forced to act, bracing myself and holding my breath as I prepared to dive deep into the cesspit that is mobile app reviews. And what I soon realised was that this little profanity filter saga wasn't done with me. It wasn't even close to being done with me, because I'm now getting angry users complaining that they were being banned for simply choosing to name their character after themselves. And so it dawned on me that there are actually people out there whose very names are profanity. Following on from this profound realisation, I then soon discovered the existence of what computer nerds call the Scunthorpe problem. The Scunthorpe problem stems from the fact that normal, non-profane words can contain profane words within them. Consequently, profanity filters will flag these words as profanity because they can't recognise the context the word is in. The problem's name comes from a case in the 90s where some poor residents of the charming English town of Scunthorpe couldn't make AOL accounts because the profanity filter flagged the word Scunthorpe as a naughty word because it contained the word cunt in it. Which was unfortunate for them because apparently back then people actually used AOL. So I had a little laugh, scrolled through some memes, and then went to get the solution for this cute little problem. Except there wasn't one. You see, despite the fact that we as humanity can build 800-meter buildings out of glass, do laps around the Earth in titanium birds that weigh over 200,000 kilograms, and are on the cusp of creating AI that will put an end to us once and for all, we still can't write a program that understands that Dickman is just some unfortunate guy's name and not actually a rude word. So after having an existential crisis triggered by the thought of having to actually write my own code and not copy it from someone smarter than me, I regained my composure and realised that there must be something I can copy. Our digital overlords over at Google, Meta and Microsoft must have some way of dealing with the Scunthorpe problem. And it seems they did, but it wasn't perfect. For in my travels I stumbled across some wonderful examples of how these workarounds to the Scunthorpe problem failed in action. For example, back in 2020, the name of this fine gentleman was blocked from trending on Twitter due to his name having a naughty word in it. From my thorough investigations, it seemed that the way current profanity filters try to address this problem, this near insurmountable challenge, was to accompany the blacklist of naughty words with a whitelist of false positive words. Words like Dickens, grape, cumulative, cockroach, etc. So in my game, what I do is when a username is flagged as profanity for containing a word on the blacklist, I then compare it to the words on the whitelist. If the word is on my whitelist, I'd know it was a false positive and let it through. Which is all fine and dandy, except that it was a shit ton of work that didn't even deliver a real solution. Not only would I need to draw up a list of all the possible false positives, I would need to constantly update and maintain it. And even then, people would just get around it by slightly altering the word, using euphemisms that a program has no chance of recognising, or God forbid, using leet speak. And really, at the end of the day, I questioned why I was even doing this. Was it really so important for my game to filter any and all possible words or phrases that could be interpreted as rude? People are going to find ways to say not so nice things on the internet, and I really question the value in trying to stamp that out completely. Sure, I'll keep the initial profanity filter in to prevent any egregious usernames, but trying to filter all bad words out, that just seemed like a losing battle. And I don't lose. So I bit the bullet and reverted the profanity filter back to a less sensitive version, knowing that while some rude words would make their way back to my game, so too would MLG Dickens. And so remember kids, bugs aren't always problems with computer software. The code for my profanity filter was utterly flawless. Rather, it was English that was bugged.